So, welcome and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the RST Endurance 2 hours of Barcelona. Coming at you is Nicholas and Josh in the commentary team. Welcome to this broadcast. I just love this animation. How are you doing, Josh?
Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to this evening. Barcelona. I mean, we've got the F1 on currently this weekend with them being at Barcelona as well. So I think we'll have plenty more action than they will in their race tomorrow. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah, in all honesty, I think that we're gonna see some much not only just closer racing, but also I think the drivers are gonna be fighting a lot more with a different variety of the cars. So honestly, that's got me excited. It's nice to see the comparison now. We won't quite see the race times though, in, in terms of the overall pace in the cars. I think it's gonna be just fantastic. So how's your weekend been? That's what I want to know. How are you looking so far?
Oh, it's going all right so far. Yeah, just keeping busy with work, so it's nice to get a good clean break. Be able to relax, have a drink, sit back, and watch some brilliant racing as always. How about yourself?
Yeah, that's what we always get with RWB. I feel like last race that's got me really hooked on this, I have to say. Constructors Championship, in case you missed that, that was on Tuesdays at Misano. We saw some very close racing in that format. So on the constructors, we have two shorter races. Now this time it's the endurance. Can you walk us through the format a little bit that we're expecting tonight?
Yeah, certainly. So it's a 2 hour race. These guys have already done their qualifying during the week. I can give you the top 10 order later on. But yeah, these guys they've been practicing furiously throughout the week, trying to get their quali times in. But of course, today's the 2 hour race. It's max stint of 45 minutes. So there's no mandatory tire change. They just have to refuel. But of course, that means that we're expecting these drivers to do a minimum of two driver swaps
Right.
at the very least. So yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, I think that kind of change with the different driver stints that actually emphasizes on the teamwork aspect as well, instead of just having one driver run for the majority of it. I think we're going to see some brilliant action, especially if we have different strategies where a driver might start on a different say the primary driver or the secondary one, so that we see a couple of position changes as the race continues on. Right. Moving
Yeah,
over to the track side, let's talk a little bit about Barcelona itself. We got some beautiful landmarks here today when I'm getting it switched right on over. There we go. Circuit de Barcelona. You know a little bit of Spanish?
um, only the words you're not supposed to say in a
All
public
right.
company. But yeah, my,
I
my
see.
Spanish is atrocious.
I actually did have a little bit of Spanish in school, so I might try and go for some corner names if I can figure those out in time. Do find it a little bit difficult. Here we see beautiful turn 1, 2, 3 complex. This is just after the right hand, and what I just love about Barcelona, something you don't really see at the first glimpse. Look at the elevation change. We're basically going up and down a hill, you could almost say.
Yeah, they say Portimao's quite up and down like a roller coaster, but yeah, Barcelona really it doesn't come out as a track with a lot of elevation change, but I mean turn 5 all the way down through to turn 7, that's you going downhill, and then turn 8 you're firing all the way up towards Campsa. So there's a ton of elevation change, even with turn 1, 2, 3. I mean the pit
Yeah.
straight, we can see it on the screen now. That's not a flat straight. It kind of goes over a crest and then starts to dive downhill into
It's
turn one. So yeah, it's pretty mega.
it's almost like the little teaser they put in for the British DLC where you're just jumping all over the place. This is a little more a little more lenient, you could say. Just you guys on the stream let me know if everything's working around in terms of the sound. We try to improve that compared to the Tuesday's Constructor Championship. I hope that's all going just dandy. So I think just a couple more minutes into here. Who are your favorites? Did you already manage to look up the qualification results? What kind of pace are we expecting here tonight?
Um, well, yeah,
Yeah, I'll
these
give you
gu-
a second. Sure.
yeah. Sorry. So the fastest time that we got was from the number 58 Lamborghini, driven by Curtin and Severian, and that time was a 1:43.6 for their pole time. So typically, you tend to see race pace being about 1:44, 1:45, typically. So that's kind of what I'm expecting from the majority of the field.
Right.
But yeah, these top 10 guys, they're super close. All of them are ranging from 1:43.6 through to 1:43.9 for the top 10. So that's extremely close for those guys up at the front.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at some of the esports events I was able to witness around here as well, I do reckon that there might be some 43s being put out in the race as well. But these guys are probably going to be riding around 78, about 80 liters perhaps of fuel at the start of the stints, respectively. I do think that 44 race pace is going to be realistic for the top half of the grid, to be real. Now, what I think is not only the Lamborghini, but some other cars such as the Porsche being very strong here on the exits of a lot of the corners, very grip reliant. I think they're going to be at a big advantage here. Do you have any favorites in terms of the cars that we should watch out for tonight?
Well, within the top 10, we've got 3 Bentleys. We've got number 107 Bentley, the number 55, and the number 13. They're in the top 10. But there's a lot of mid-engined cars here. We've got, in terms of the top 10, we've got Audis, Ferraris, and the Lamborghini, of course, in pole position. So there's a lot of mid-engine cars that are in the top 10. So this track seems to favour the cars that are a bit more. They require a bit more flow than the front-engine cars, which can kind of bite into those low-speed corners.
Yeah, especially I feel like the middle and the last sector there has such flowing turns, as you mentioned. We have a very difficult time once you can't get the front end to turn in. And seeing the Bentleys up at the front, kind of wasn't expecting that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, the Bentley's just kind of a tank, really. It can kind of do any track. I tend to favour the Bentley now over the McLaren that I used to drive religiously, but after going to the Bentley, it's just such a stable platform, and it's quite fun driving right up behind someone because it's such a massive car. It just dominates their rear view. So it's a brilliant car for trying to show your opponents that you are there. You are going to go for a move at some point, and it's kind of that psychological warfare almost that it doesn't really get talked about that much when we're racing. But psychology is a massive thing in this. It's not just the cars. We've got the drivers trying to outsmart each other.
Yeah, I mean, let's jump right on over into the free practice and see some of that happening. We see a couple of cars, 44.6 on a fast track right now. That's fastest time, and then we are following along with Christopher. How do I pronounce this? Treverin, I think.
Yep,
58. Treverin. Okay, I'm getting this. Smoked salmon and fries is the car to watch here, I think. Now they're already putting in a couple of fast times here too, trying to just assert a little bit of dominance, and that's exactly what you were talking about. Trying to put a little bit of pressure, tease the other cars. What can I do? Most likely on a set of race fuel.
Yeah, I think with what tends to happen when it's quali on the same session is you get people going out in practice and going on quali fuel, whereas with this, all of these guys, they should be going out and practicing their race pace, trying to get their heads back into it, get back into a rhythm of flow, because as soon as you break that rhythm or flow, you just end up hemorrhaging time, especially on a game like Assetto Corsa Competizione.
Right.
Rhythm and flow is a big thing that you need to be able to keep on.
Yeah, I do agree with that. So in the background, I'll be setting up something, a new feature actually. Obviously at RWB, we're trying to provide you with some high quality broadcasts, and one of the new features that I'm hoping to get in and rolling tonight is the fastest lap counter, which will be available in the race, coming in at the top of the screen. But I do have to get that seed rolling, because what you guys don't know is I'm actually coming in from a 6.5-hour broadcast in German just before this. So I'm dropping in hot, you could say.
Yeah, that's quite a fate, going 6 hours straight into another 2-hour race. That's you've got more commitment than I do to the commentary scene, I must say.
I'm trying to get that. I was particularly asked nicely, you could say, for that event. So I really couldn't say anything else. We've been following Phil Varley and the Grumpy Bastards Racing 55 here, looking to set a new lap time, 45.4. And look at that consistency. 2 laps in a row, just 1 or 2 tenths shy of their PB. That shows just how close it's going to be during the race if they continue to put in this sort of pace.
100%. I mean, consistency is key with racing like this. But so is the number 917 car driven by Door currently. He's just gone into the pits, but they've managed to keep their lap times relatively consistent, which is a very good sign, because if you can just nail it one after the other, it's going to be perfect for you. While Nicholas is sorting that out, I'll quickly talk you through the qualifying order from the session this week. In P1, as I mentioned, is the number 58 Lamborghini driven by Olivier Curtin and Christopher Tavarian. In P2, we have a number 88 Mercedes driven by Jake Moore and Xerax. P3 is the number 92 Audi driven by Badowski and Nyoden. The number 107 Bentley and number 55 Bentley, those are in P4 and P5. They're driven by Navarro and Nogueira in P4 and Varley and Hacks in P5. The number 917 Lexus driven by Door and Plate is in P6. Next up we have 2 Ferraris in P7 and P8. That's the number 96 driven by Rigel and Tyrion in P7, and the number 33 driven by Royling and Jay Matley in P8. In P9 we have the number 21 Mercedes driven by Malo and Tohairo. And finally in P10 we have the number 13 Bentley driven by Camaletto and The Bag. But yeah, perfect time for us to start racing.
And it's lovely. 2 pit stops, as you can see, are going to be happening here around tonight. Barcelona is the track to be at. Now I'm trying to get all of this figured out. So do you want to do another full order? I don't think we quite got through it, right? I could attempt, and so there's 2 options here. I think I'm going to take the option where I'm just going to be going through the grid, and then you can basically try and narrate once again as we're coming into here. I'll try and set us up. There you go, and I think I got it. I'll figure it out. Do you have everything ready? So I can just go through here?
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Okay.
In P1, we have a number 58 Lamborghini with Olivier Curtin. In P2, we have a number 88 Mercedes driven by Jake Moore. In P3, there should be a number 55 Lexus, which I'm not sure where he's gone, but that's driven by Phil Varley for the first stint. In P5, we have a number 917 car driven by Door. Quickly jump down to trying to get my bearings here.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's all out of order.
Yeah, so I think we have the Samuel Navarro here in the first stint in the 108.
Yep.
And that Phil Varley is in the number 55, actually. That's over here in a nice custom livery as well.
Yep, and then we have the number 917 in P6 driven by Door. Then we have a number 91 Audi driven by Tiro Nyonin and Marco Badowski. Next we have a number 96 Ferrari driven by Rigel and Tyrion. Behind them we have a number 33 Ferrari in the yellow. That's driven by Jerry and Royling and RWB Madley. In P10 we have a number 21 Mercedes. In P11 we have Jack Camaletto. P10, that's Jack Camaletto in the Bentley, number 13. P11 we have a number 34 Mercedes driven by Kai Banks and Alexander Veach. In P12 we have a number 25 Ferrari driven by Ian Simcox and Adam Sharp. In P14 we have another Ferrari, the number 91 Ferrari driven by Peter Peck currently. In P15 we have John McCain.
There's hardly any time trying to follow along.
We tried.
Yeah, we really did. So many nice liveries where maybe we get a little bit of time later during the race. But just before we miss the race start, we gotta get into there as well. Do you want to take the first run, or should I?
Oh, I can give it a bash.
Sure.
So here they are lining up double file as they come up to the start-finish line. we'll have the lights out any second, and that's it. That's green light, and away we go, heading down now towards turn 1. Going 3 wide. It looks like there's an Audi as well, trying to go 4 wide as well into turn 1. Luckily, there seems to be no collision. Everyone filing through very nicely. Nothing too bad happening at the back from what I'm seeing as well. Everyone's getting through nice and crisp. We have a Lamborghini going off the road, as we can see on screen, but nothing going horrendously wrong. Looking back forward in P1, the number 88 Mercedes, driven by Jake Moore, has managed to get in front, followed by Phil Varley in that number 55 Lexus, and Curtin's dropped back by 2 positions, it looks like, in that number 58 yellow Lamborghini. Everything seems to be going clear as far as we can see. There's not been any massive accidents so far, but here they are now going towards turn 7. Filing through nicely. We've got some people further back, kind of getting all out of shape. We've got another collision at turn 7, but luckily everyone seems to still be on track. Looking ahead at Olivier Curtin, he's still going ahead nicely through. And Martin Schaefer, as we can see on screen now, getting nice and close to the Lexuses, or Lexi ahead, not sure how you say that plural. Up ahead, we still have the same order as earlier.
I think that's a very crucial moment, side by side, and quite defensively, you could say. Some of them really learned something, and I've been looking over to my left in the broadcast line. There's a bunch of small contacts, but nobody too far back. I think the only car that's really gotten into trouble is going to be Max Speed and Del Helena, who have dropped back quite significantly. And let's jump back to the front, get a shot of the section here. TV camera number 2 should get us a nice overview of the leading pack here. That's going to be the top 6, actually top 5, very closely, just 1.5 seconds away from each other as they're heading into turn 1 for the second time. And this now at full speed, barely making a move there for a second, but thinking better of it as we are chasing the number 58 Lamborghini up the hill here, up into turn 3, turn 4 then. Coming right on up. I think this is a beautiful showcase of what these guys can do. Up into Repsol now, to the inside, and the Bentley, I think, is gonna try and go for a move here. He's got a little bit of a to Marco Badowski. Does he send it to the inside? He's definitely looking. If the door is open, I think he's gonna say thank you very much and take that. He's gonna take it around one more turn though. It's gonna be into Vert where they're making that position stake. So Marco Badowski dropping back with Samuel Navarro now up in 4th.
Yeah, it was a fantastic movie. Clearly you could see him setting it up and getting the inside for when he was going through Repsol and into turn 7. Just managing to stick at the inside. Looking further back, I'm currently watching Justin Burley and Matt Tarbuck and Peter Peck. Those guys are all fighting it out. Their fighting though has meant that there's a massive gap now between Schaefer and Justin Burley. That's a hefty gap that's building up right now between them because of this fighting. But yeah, it's looking good back there. But yeah, luckily they're managing to keep it clean. But
a bit of a contact.
Just as I say that, that's me.
With the Ferrari, right, there's multiple cars being involved in there, guys. You have a lot of race to get all of this done. That should be Petr Peck in the RRLeaks.com Ferrari that got shoved out of the way in the process there. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, we see another Ferrari going off track as well. That's very unfortunate, and it looks like the number 917, driven by Dorr, is waiting up for him, which is the right thing to do if there is an incident between them. But that's just unfortunate for those guys who got caught up further behind in that initial. But we still see cars going 3 wide. Currently, which going into turn 1 on lap 3, I mean, there's still plenty of time, but we see Ascend going for it, and nice, managed to keep it.
Beautiful defense, a bit of a body check there to the outside, as now Peter Peck has to defend for position again with that Lexus to the outside. That's going to be a RWB Charger, who I talked to just before the race. He's looking to make a P22. There's a big contact there. Ooh. Not enough space. Bring that over into the regular broadcast over here. Wow, okay, let's check back in with the front for a little bit here, because these guys are going at it, just 1.5 tenths separating P1 and 2. And it's going to be Jake Morley fighting on Phil Varley's inside there. That might be enough for him. Bentley seems to have excess pace there as well, can't quite go for a move yet. But this pack up at the front is fighting heavily.
I was taking a drink there. Yeah, it's it's pretty intense with these guys. I mean, I would have thought they'd try and file through, get behind each other, and just stick out the rest of the race. But I mean, we're
too
5
wide
minutes in,
into
they're
the
still
chicane, and
fighting.
once again contact. Lambo does the thing that the Lambo seems to do best, which is do just a little spin, get back in line. That's going to be a bunch of positions lost. Oliver Curtin finds himself now fighting for P7 against that Ferrari of Angan Sharp there on the outside. And now up into turn 1 as the AMG of Godzilla joins the fray. On the inside, 3 wide, you're in the middle. This is the nightmare. And he's going to stay back and just live with his life, I think. Yeah, he's just going to go on with it and accept that he's now fallen back into P8 for now. They're still going in. Let's actually jump into the dash and have a look. Look at the rear mirror. That's the Ferrari right there. That's the AMG ahead that you're trying to find. Little do you know, there's actually a car on your outside as well. As Oliver Curtin, in that smoked salmon and fries, sends it to the inside to make it just that P7. Damage control at its finest.
Yeah, Kai Banks did an amazing job as well to make up 2 positions in effectively 1 corner. Fantastic job from him, sticking it as they go round now. I'm hoping Kai Banks, that's given him a bit of an edge. He can now kind of relax a little bit and reset his head and keep going. But yeah, I'm still watching this battle currently for P15. We've got Dirk Gretschel, Schoen and Mike Bull. These guys are still properly together, can barely fit a cigarette's paper between these guys as they're still going, fighting all the way through, going through turn 9 onto that back straight. But yeah, I'm wondering if we'll see a defensive move from Dirk Gretschel as we see Mike Bull going onto the inside. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get the send or outbreak anyone there.
Yeah, not quite yet. So I do not quite know if we have a race controller this time around, but I'm sure they're going to have a look at it if someone did decide to send it up there. A couple of incidents in the first couple of laps. I would say not a massive crash. I was very happy with the first lap, but after that it wasn't too great, I'd say. Things are settling back into action a little bit. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just pointing out that Charger looks like he's trying to make a move on Justin Burley and Dorr. These guys still properly together. But yeah, it's still good. We've got Dale Kelleher. He's currently at the back of the pack, but he's still catching up to max speed, and they're trying to catch up to Charger as well. So those guys, don't discount them yet. It's still a lot of time left. It's still about an hour and 50 minutes. But yeah, these guys still going at it. But yeah, I've just seen these two going at it. That's Schoen and Mike Bull fighting. It looks like Schoen's got the place from Mike Bull, but yeah, still keeping it close together.
A couple of cars. Let's check in with the winners and the losers here from the first 10 minutes. Just briefly, up at the front still not much changed. We have Jake Moore still leading the pack at that. And then it's going to be Philip Varley just very closely behind that. Them all separated with just about a second between P1, 2 and 3. And actually it's all front engines at the front right now. Maybe that's going to change over the course of the race. Then Samuel Navarro managed to snatch 2 positions, originally starting in P5, and finds himself at the last step of the podium. Yeah, then Marco Badowski started in 4th, is still in 4th. And bring your vision into the picture here, because that's a nice fight. Would you mind introducing us to the participants?
Yeah, sure. It's between Mike Bull and Adun Jun. It looks like Jun isn't too happy that Bull got the position, so he's still fighting, trying to get the position back, but Porsche still managing to stick ahead. So yeah, brilliant stuff from those two, managing to keep it clean for that complex, because it's so tight that it's quite easy to lose out. But it looks like Mike Bull's had to drop back a little bit, but I'm sure he'll definitely be coming back for a fight again.
Out of all those traction zones, I think the Porsche is quite a hefty advantage, you could say. Now, in all honesty, I think that it's a little bit overpowered almost into some of these slower corners, but the thing is, when you look at the BOP globally through all of the different tracks that we'll be visiting during our season here, I think that's going to even out pretty much all the way. Now that's a hefty bit of damage, and the number 12 car, I think that is.
Yeah, Martin Schaefer, he's got quite a lot of damage, which would explain why he went quite wide letting Talbot through. So, but we are seeing still those guys up at the front still going side by side into turn 10. A little bit of a tap, but Robbing's racing. No harm was done between those guys.
Philip Valley has to defend quite a bit there. Sector times speak for themselves. It seems that Navarro might be a little bit faster in the second sector here, and that will probably be a key role when it comes to trying to attack that. Because if you do get a nice run, eventually you're going to make a slight mistake or break yourself. And that happen after you're getting past, it's very difficult to retaliate at all. Jumping over to the action, you got the number 58 there, I think. I can already tell from the liveries, it's very distinct. It's quite easy actually to follow the action just based on looking at the cars alone that I'm seeing on the side of the screen.
Yeah, currently looking at Olivier Curtin and the number 58. Looks like he's got some action behind him, but he's still trying to catch up to the back of Clyde Banks there in that Mercedes in front of him, the nice monster energy. But he's thinking he's Lewis Hamilton right now with that kind of sponsorship. But yeah, he's got some breathing room though, because he does have Adam Sharp and Rilling behind him. They're battling out, so I bet he's hoping right now that those two will slow each other up. He can get a bit of space so he can catch up to Banks and try and get the move done without any pressure from behind.
If he can manage to squeeze past him, I think that will give him a lot of freedom. Checking in with the rear wing, see how close all of this is. So the two Ferraris now with Sharp and John Railing fighting for the last couple of turns here. We've been following that on this beautiful Saturday morning in Spain. It is 9 AM right now in game time with about 25 degrees on the track. That promises to be basically optimum conditions. So these guys can just show all of what they got on board into the heavy braking zone here for that happen. And look how close that actually gets. Ferrari almost touching the rear end there. Adam Sharp just narrowly missing it. So that would have been a disaster. But so far, so clean as the starts to pan out a little bit.
Yeah, it's a prime example of the concertina effect right there, but it does kind of get you a little bit panicked as we see someone diving down the inside there. A little bit of robbing, but it looks like that blue Lamborghini's managed to... blue Ferrari's managed to find his pace back. But yeah, very optimistic to try and make a move into turn 14, 15. It's so tight down there, but it's very rare to see that. I would have expected him to kind of try and get a nice clean run out of turn 15 through turn 16 and try and get the move to turn 1.
That's really what you would expect, but Adam Sharp manages to stay ahead in that golden oldies number 25 here, that blue Ferrari in front of the Jerome Roiling fake taxi. Doesn't quite get the colors 100%, but it's an A+ for effort, I have to say. I want to check in with the front though, where things are spicing up quite a bit. Let's go back 10 seconds. Look what happened there. That's Phil Varley spun around at the exit. It's going to maybe take us a little second, and that's the touch. That's the contact pack. P2, P3, they go around the outside. He's not going to be happy with that at all.
No, he'll probably have a bit of damage, but the car that caused it, he'll have damage to the front and rear as he got rear-ended from that contact as well. So he's going to have damage to his splitter and his diffuser and possibly the rear wing. So he's just made his life a bit more difficult if he's going to try and stay kind of fighting fit. But yeah, that's just unfortunate in the way it is with close racing, like we're seeing on screen.
Now, there is since we're already talking about this, getting the damage in, obviously the idea of getting in slightly earlier pit stop is there. Is there some form of pit window, or are these cars free to just go into the pit lane whenever they choose?
Effectively, they can go in at any time. There's no specific pit window, as far as I could see from the regs. The problem is, though, that, you know, the earliest they could pit is the 25-minute mark into the race if they want to keep to the two-stop strategy, which will be the minimum amount of stops they could do. Kind of interesting floating car there. Yeah,
there was a Mercedes, I think, just floating up in the air, trying to get some dominance in with the what almost seems like a T-pose in terms of the racing. That's quite puzzling, I have to say.
Yeah, I've not seen that for a long time.
That's lovely. I've seen that in the picture there down there as well. Oh, fantastic. Alright, up in the front, so we do see Marco Budowski here holding on in second place. Last lap is a 48.0, and I think I'm not going to get the plugin set up this time with the fastest lap. That's going to be for the next Tuesday broadcast. Checking in with a battle for you down there. You go ahead and let us know what's happening there.
Yeah, certainly. We're currently looking at Mike Bull, currently on screen now in that green and black Aston Martin. He's currently trying to pass RWB Rigel for number 96 Ferrari ahead of him, and ahead of Rigel is Dirk Gretschel as well in P14. So these guys are properly close, trying to get back at it. But yeah, it's been really clean so far. There's not been any massive contact or anything, just, you know, a bit of rubbing. But yeah, it's going really well so far between those guys.
So what does surprise me a little bit is with Navarro going into the lead after the contact, not actually quite waiting up. That's something I thought was going to happen, and since he didn't and gained the position this way, I'm sure there might be a word with the stewards at the end of this, seeing that, of course, he did also lose a little bit of time on the damage itself. It's just not quite what you want to see up at the front with the top runners actually being quite capable of keeping it clean against Houston.
Yeah, it's not a great sign, but you know, people get flustered during the race. Sometimes it's just kind of a, oh no, I'm losing time, I need to go now. So hopefully, you know, it's nothing too bad. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the stewards after the race. But yeah, currently looking at Rigel making a move on Gretschel, it looks like, down the inside, and that's move done. Nothing more to say on that.
Just beautiful and clean, making it stick as well. Not much of a chance now that everybody's sharing the dirty air. It's quite nice. Now to the inside actually for a little bit. See if he goes for the move. Seems bold and brash. Gets it done again with a switchback perhaps. Not quite this time, and is getting some decent traction. Once again side by side, they're going to go down the hill and up into turn 7 here, and I think that's going to be it. Ooh, almost a little bit of contact.
Really?
On the
Nearly.
Lexus.
Yeah, but Gretschel played that well. He stuck to the outside on turn 4, managed to keep the inside for turn 5, which is perfectly ideal. So that gives him the run down, and the inside line for turn 7, which, I mean, that's a one-line corner, but he has to watch out now. He's still got Mike Bull right behind him, and he's going to have the slipstream all the way down. Looks like he's defending the inside from Bull. And yeah, I don't think Bull's going to be able to hold it around the outside, but he has to be careful because he's also got he's still got Door behind him in that Lexus.
He has to go quite evasive, spins him around, turns him back around though, and I think he's gonna wait up for them.
Yeah, that's him weighted up. So that's perfect. That's what we wanted to see, but yeah, that's just unfortunate that he did lose a place from that.
Yeah, switching it back on to the forward view where we saw pole position setter Olivier Kilton dropping back quite severely. I think at P7, P8 at some point has already managed to climb up a little bit, finds himself in P5 at the moment. But I think if we're looking at some of the early race situations here, the race start later as well, I think we're going to see that he's just on a roll, on the pace as well, and trying to get back to the position. He's really up there with the fastest guys, which was somewhat to be expected, but with the damage, I think that's especially impressive.
Yeah, definitely. He's still got some of that damage on board, but he's still in the dirty air as well, so he's going to have very little turn in at the front. It's not going to be biting as much, but he's still looking really racy as he looks to the outside. So, you know, it's not the end of the world for them. The fighting still goes on, and their pit window will be coming up in about 5 or 10 minutes. So it's just about nursing that damage for now.
I think that's actually quite nice, seeing that with the 2 mandatory pit stops, some kind of damage like this and a potential driver change doesn't play a major role in the overall outcome of this race. Of course, considering it's 2 hours of racing, there's always the opportunity to just gain a couple of positions based on your race pace alone. Now, I think that these guys are going to probably settle for this more or less until Curtin gets enough slipstream, for example, here into turn 1. He's going to think about it with a very powerful engine of the AMG towards the outside. He actually goes for it, very narrowly avoiding contact there. That's beautiful defense that we're seeing there. from the AMG driver of RWB. Got the contact there. Doesn't quite make it too wide as he has to slot back into what is essentially P9.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It looked like he dipped a wheel on the grass and just understeered into Kai Banks, which very unfortunate. But you know, seeing Banks in the past, he doesn't let this kind of thing get to him. He will come back fighting and try and get that place back.
And a 2-for-1 move there almost, as Broiling is waiting for it and actually gets past quite easily with that little bit of contact and make it 3-for-1 there as Varley jumps to the inside. And that's going to be a move done as we see that Ferrari of
yeah, that's that Gretschel in number 114. He's currently in P17 and under attack from Barnett in the number 15 Lamborghini, the green car there. But of course, he's still under attack from Mike Bull and the number 68 Aston Martin. It looks like Gretschel, he's still managing to keep ahead. He's not had too much pressure from Barnett so far. I'm wondering if Barnett is kind of just following him for now, waiting for the opportunity, waiting for a mistake. Just keep pressuring Gretschel, try and get the move without having to do a move or sacrifice any time. Because it's still...
Yeah, in the group around Barcelona, that's super powerful. We saw it a couple of times already where just forcing someone into a mistake proves much more powerful or potent than just shoving someone out wide. Trying to go there with race pace alone. Setting your opponent up really does pay off here around these beautiful track in eastern parts of Spain.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the mid-engine cars now coming under attack.
There's big contact there between the Bentley and the Ferrari. I'm going to pull that Bacon over, go back 30 seconds in a second in just a moment here. That was major contact up into what is the Renault corner. Let me try and get this right, frame it perfectly. And what we're seeing here is the attack of the Lamborghini that sends the Bentley out wide. Then the Ferrari tries to follow along there. That's going to be just not quite enough room as they're both steering heavily into the barrier. Especially the Bentley got a massive impact there. And the cars continue to follow along. And Schaefer almost gets hit there as well. That was super close.
Yeah, that's just really unfortunate. Both understeering on the exit. It's just, yeah, it's just the way of the road, unfortunately.
That's Rick Binnersley and the Paradigm Shift 13. It really, despite that beautiful livery of his, doesn't seem to have the race that he was looking for.
Yeah, no, it is unfortunate, but we still have plenty of time for him to kind of brush the dust off the car, get it repaired if there is any damage, and have another bash trying to get back up into the top 10. So still plenty of time for him to go for it. We've seen bigger comebacks in other series in RWB, so I'm not writing him off just yet. But yeah,
I think that's a good thing to do. We saw that he has very nice pace. It's just when you see that originally Olivier Curtin was starting in pole position, got sent back to the group. And I think then you kind of just want to leave a little bit more room and sometimes just accept the overtake, considering how much potential damage you can do to your car if you're overly defensive and not just holding up. There's going to be another try. There's so much time in the race. I think that's kind of the lection that's going to be learned here tonight.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes. With endurance racing such as this, there are times that you push and go max attack. There are times when you should maybe conserve a little bit, save your tyres for later on, because I don't think everyone will be doing the tyre swap because that's just extra time in the pits. So you never know, these guys could be trying to save some tyres for the end to go max attack.
So during the pit stop, you said it was a mandatory refuel, is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. So they need to do refueling. But yeah, tyre change, not mandatory. They can do it if they want to, but they're not forced to do it.
Right, so what I think is going to be one of the most viable strategies, if you have a faster driver, getting your faster driver into the car first, doing just a splash and dash, get a little bit of fuel in, and then do the second stint in that set of tires as well. Then, since during a tire swap, that's going to take you 30 seconds, which is exactly the length of a driver swap as well. So chances are you do both at the same time and then try and rock on with it.
Yeah, there's a million ways to think about it in terms of this. I mean, you can put your fastest driver in for the first 2 stints, make them go full attack. What I've done in the past is we put our fastest driver in second into middle stint, as we
Right.
see the Ferrari going very late on the brakes, luckily not hitting anyone. Yep, still very good driving from Sharp to avoid any collision there. But yeah, as I was saying, like, yeah. Well, I'll hang on a second. It's getting good with Rolling and Binners here. It looks like Rolling's managed to get the pass done on the straight before turn 1, and that's him done. I wonder if Binners does have a bit of damage from that, because he's now understeering massively, and he's still got Rigel coming up behind him in that Porsche.
Yeah, to the right-hand side, we're going to see a car appear in just a second, and that is going to be the Porsche of Arden Soyen. Just ahead. I don't think we can quite see it in the cockpit here, but if we're following the car on the side of the road, there's front-end damage for sure. The rear doesn't look too scathed, but definitely the front, that's going to cost him a lot of time on the straights, especially into turn 1. That's a massive difference here.
Yeah, I mean, if his rear wing's damaged or the fuse is damaged, that's going to mess the aero balance massively, and he's just going to be understeering for days if the front is damaged, or oversteering a ton if the rear is damaged. So
Exactly.
from what we saw when he was going around turn 3, he had chronic understeer. It looked like he just could not get the front kept in line, which is why we saw him leave the door massively open for Rigel to go through.
Hold on just a hot second. Okay, I thought I got a message regarding the broadcast, but that is just a random Discord message approaching my door here. Looks like the next Ferrari approaching Rick Binnersley's door is going to be a Rigel here, trying to fight for that P13 that he hopes to claim his at the end of at the end of the main straight here at Barcelona, and it looks like he's going to make it an easy job. Makes it look easy going around to the inside here, and it's already fully clear. It's the heading into the braking zone. That's going to be the job done, and him moving up into P12.
Yeah, I'm looking at the front runners. It looks like Badowski, the battling for P2. That's given Badowski a massive advantage. He's actually got a 13-second lead thereabouts, which is a huge advantage for after about 30 minutes of running. But Curtin is still battling with Phil Varley and Kai Banks with Adam Sharp. But yeah, Curtin now up in P3, which is fantastic work from him.
Yeah, it's a massive turnaround. You can see it in the pace as well. Last lap is the fastest lap for him, so he's only now settling into the pace. Frontrunner Samuel Navarro, last lap is a 45.0. That's going to be the race pace you're looking for. And 45.3 set by Marco Badowski. Oliver Printon manages to squeeze in a 45.3 as well, where Phil Varley is trying to hold on in that Grumpy Bastards 55. But I don't think that he quite has the pace yet, as he's about to set another 46 lap, at least by the looks of it. Dropping a little bit in terms of the pace, but still managing to hold it decent up into the P5, which is being chased here by Adam Sharp.
Yeah, those front runners are doing an amazing job. Fantastic stuff from those guys so far. But yeah.
Can you perhaps get a replay of the start run at some point when I'm trying to chase the action?
Yeah,
oh, no.
I can try.
Yeah, you're just going to go to the race section, and I'm going to reverse it and get my replay at the start. I think it's going to be just fine as well. Into turn 1 there for a brief second. Door in the Tag 1 racing is almost coming under heavy attack there. Dirk Gretcher, he thinks better of it and chooses to go just another couple more turns up into turn 4 now in just a moment to run an attack here in the fight for P17. Let's see if he jumps to the inside. He does want to just go for the outside ideal line, get the exit, and quickly jump over to you while I am preparing the replay. That's the one.
Yeah, so we're currently looking at Olivier Curtin, who's under attack from Phil Varley. Varley's been slowly catching up to the back of Curtin, but so far it looks like Curtin's managing to stick just ahead. He's not got too much advantage so far, but this does mean that Phil Varley will have a slipstream if he can stay close enough. It's roughly, if they're within a second, they pretty much got a slipstream effect going down the main straight. So we'll stick on board, stay following Olivier Curtin and Phil Varley, see if anything comes up. But further back, just behind them, you can see Kai Banks coming under attack from Adam Sharp. Those guys are close together as well. Quickly flick over to those two. No send or dive into turn one, but that slight late braking from Sharp has given Kai a little bit of breathing room, and of course he's now got the dirty air behind him. So that does mean that Sharp is going to be understeering slightly. He can't get on the power as much. But yeah, if we look further back again, we've still got this kind of pack going through it. This consists of Rick Binnersley in the number 13 car, Martin Schaefer, Daniel Barnett, Dorr, Dirk Gretschel, and Mike Bull. Those guys are all sticking fairly close together. They've not kind of had a respite from each other, so they're still pushing on ahead, trying to get something. But we see Binnersley going quite wide, as we see Schaefer going through and taking a position quite easily, it seems. But now Binnersley is seemingly under attack from Daniel Barnett as well. But of course, as we saw earlier, this means that Binnersley has the inside. Oh no, never mind. I thought Binnersley would.
Looks like he completely gets off the gas and lets the Lambo take it absolutely for free, and he'll do so gladly and say thank you very much. That's the position here. All right.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Binnersley has quite a lot of damage because he seems to just be struggling massively with the pace of the car. He just can't get on the power as much as the other guys. So it's kind of
I'm just curious why you just won't pit with the damage. I think that there's definitely damage. Just looking how during the cornering, it seems quite difficult for him to just maintain that speed. And second of all, getting around to the straight line speed, it's just not that. It's just absolutely missing.
Yeah, it does seem like he's struggling after that contact that he had. So I'm wondering if he's got a fair bit of damage on him. But now he's going to be under attack from Dorr. But the pit window should be opening up for him. So he could be able to go into the pits maybe next lap. Oh, yeah. As I say, that's him going into the pits now.
That's his call sign. Actually closely followed there by the Lexus as well. Let's hope there's no contact on the entry. Got to nail that timing very closely to the outside. And now let us switch back on over to the picture-in-picture with me on the main broadcast, because this is the start of the race once again for you lads here. For all of you who have joined a little bit late, 2 hours of Barcelona are on the schedule here tonight. Joining me here in the broadcast booth is the chief, the one and only Josh. Did you see that? Yeah, one of the cars in the background there went to the other road. What is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Phil Varley there.
That's fantastic.
Very, very interesting use of the alternative MotoGP line. But yeah, not sure what he was doing.
Love to see him.
But yeah, the first start of the race start was very, very busy actually. It was quite packed. I expected everyone to kind of, get the first lap out of the way, but we can still see, as you saw there at turn 4, there was still some contact, unfortunately, for that McLaren. So yeah, it wasn't the best start and the most clean start we've seen, but luckily it was relatively clean, I think, especially when you compare it to some other races that people may have seen. But yeah, everyone filed through, eventually found their spots, but yeah, still lots of position changing in lap 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, let's have a look at that as well in a second when we're coming back out of this. I just want to get a full lap around here during the race start. Look at that, beautiful in the picture. They're capturing how many absolutely stunning liveries we've got going for ourselves tonight. I think that's definitely one of the highlights here as well, seeing how much creativity and effort has been put into not just the preparation in terms of setup and driving, but also seeing them express themselves through their liveries. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see people using their creativity, making some really sharp-looking liveries as well. I especially love that Ferrari that we're seeing on screen now with the kind of blue tearing across the car. So yeah, some fantastic liveries out there, but yeah, it's good to see, and yeah, we're still seeing this action as people are still going 2-3 wide into turn 1 on the second lap. So yeah, still fantastic to see.
Yeah, it's also one of the things that ACC gets quite right. This kind of dog fighting almost, trying to get the not only aero wash but also the line right when you're trying to fight with someone respectfully. And let's jump on over to your perspective now as well. Get that on here because we have some nice action.
Yeah, we're currently looking at Jerome Ruling and Daniel Merchant battling it out. We've also got Mallow as well in the number 21 Mercedes. They're still battling it out as well. Unfortunately for Mallow, he was in P9 at the start of the race, so he has dropped back to 1 position. So he's certainly not lost more than others, but yeah, he hasn't fared as well as some of the other people. But yeah, still looking fantastic up there. But we also have no send in turn 1, but we still have Kai Banks as well, battling it out as well with Adam Sharp close behind in that blue and white Ferrari.
Yeah, jumping right on over there in my private view as well. So wait, so RWB Godzilla has a real name? I thought that was what it said on his passport. I'm a little puzzled.
Yeah, I got confused as well, but he used to race under Kai Banks, and some names, like some leagues he'd be Kai Banks, others he'd be Godzilla, so I kept calling him Kai Banks, and my cohort James would keep calling him Godzilla, so he just got confused.
Let's see how it is. Okay. There's a little bit of oh Jesus Christ, the word anonymity. Yeah, that's probably wrong, Star. Oh, jeez. Alright. Looking up at the front, let's go down the order. Not trying to miss too much action here, but we did see it. Originally starting in P5, Samuel Navarro in the Bentley Team M Sport 108 is leading the pack with a margin of about 5 seconds there. Beautiful stuff so far, and quite consistent too. Then in P2, it's going to be Marco Badowski in the Racing Sim Tools number 92 from sponsors here from that event. Now checking it out in position number 3, it's going to be Oliver Curtin, who had to fight back with the knife between his teeth, that smoked salmon and fries. Lambo had to go through a lot already. Doesn't have a pit stop under his belt yet. However, Ferrari isn't too far away, has been catching the last 2 laps here with the best lap time of 1:44.7. The Grumpy Bastards Racing Bentley is looking mighty fine here in position number 4. That's Kai Banks still fighting on with Adam Sharp here in position 5 and 6. Very beautiful livery there on both of these cars. As we're checking out Matt Tarbuck in the Nigel Mansell FW14 Lexus here, followed by Jerome Roiling in the fake taxi Ferrari, which is then followed by Daniel Merchant, who's leading the group of RWB Ryger. Then Rafael Malo in that AMG Moon 21 of his, Peter Pack in the RRLeaks.com Ferrari, who's sitting in P12 right now in front of Daniel Burnett in the lead Racing Lambo, which is the second of the 2 Lambos out there. Mike Bell in the United Team Performance 68 is holding on quite nicely. Last lap was his personal best of the evening so far. It's a 1:46.0. That's enough for P14 for him. Dirk Gretschel, however, in the 04 Racing is a little bit off that pace last lap, 7/10 slower than that right now in the 1:14 here, fighting with Matt L in the Volvo Suffolk leg ends number 4. Beautiful to see that close action. Don't want to actually switch off that, it's so tight. I just want to go through the back, but I really just can't. Very nice action. Then it's RWB Charger here in the Targetronic Racing Lexus, marking one of the few custom liveries that you're ever going to see on this car. ACC is quite strict on that with the Golf livery. Beautiful stuff that is. In front of Auden Sjoren in the RWB Racing Porsche, the 543, sitting in P18. Then it's Martin Schaefer, the Sol Race Team Lexus, with one of the default liveries in the game. Very nice to see. in that number 12. Then Dale Kelleher, the 175 in P20. Then Mark Speed is the first car, one of the first cars to actually be lapped. The McLaren Shadow Project, number 146 to the outside there, seems to get off the gas relatively early. Then Jack Camoletto, paradigm shift, also has his pit stop served already. So they've already been in the pits, caught in some trouble early in the race. Same as Door and the Tech 1 Racing Lexus in P23. That is Jonas Red and the Ashcroft Racing 718 Ferrari. And wrapping up the field is going to be Nate Newcomer in Garage 59 Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's weird seeing Nate Newcomer not in a BMW. I always see him in one on these kind of leagues. Yeah, that's him in the Aston Martin and still chugging along. I've been following Rigel with his charge. He charged past Mallow back in turn 1 about 3 minutes ago. Beautiful move. He braked perfectly, got the move done on the inside, and fantastic stuff. But now he's chasing at the back of Daniel Merchant, as you can see in the 145 Aston Martin, as we see Merchant heading into the pits there. So yeah, that's now Rigel given a bit of free air, 'cause he seems to have the pace to catch up to the guys at the front of the mid pack in the top 10. But yeah, he's still going along. He's doing a fantastic job so far.
It's quite nice to see that they're all so keeping up with the pace there as well. I think we see a nice battle forming too, as we see a lot of the cars already heading to their first pit stop now. It's going to be very interesting to see where they're heading out. What are we watching down there with you? Beautiful move.
We've just watched Martin Schaefer make a fantastic move on Charger there into turn 10. Unfortunately, it looks like Charger was sleeping, busy. He's had a long day. He's had a really big dinner, eating some prawns and all that. So he's a bit sleepy right now, which is why Schaefer got the move done. But yeah, that'll be him heading into the pits now. But yeah, Schoen is now going to be next in line to be attacked by Martin Schaefer. So we'll see what happens with these guys. I reckon it will be about a half a lap or a lap until we see Schaefer close up to Schoen in that Porsche. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of some cars have swapped drivers so far. They don't have to swap driver every single pit that they do, but yeah, it looks like some drivers have swapped over.
Now I do reckon that we're gonna see not only a change of pace, as that's the number 25 car. Actually, I think I must have missed the last two cars then, so with Simon Mertens and Jake Leach. The stop and go 30 was speeding in the pit lane. That is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's there to protect the the imaginary people who work in the pit lane. But yeah, it is unfortunate, and it is so easy to accidentally just brake too late and slide over the start of the pit line. But yeah, it's the way the cookie crumbles.
The funniest thing actually to me is during the other broadcast that I had earlier this evening, we've had a plentiful of these stop and go 30s for speeding in the pit lane, but really all of them were fine with coming into the pit lane. The trouble was when some of them choked the engine during the ignition, then they actually restart the car electronically, which means that the pit limiter is not enabled anymore, oftentimes resulting in them just blasting like 90 to 100 kilometers or around 60 miles in the pit lane, which obviously is way past the speed limit.
Yeah, it is massively unfortunate. I too get frustrated at ACC with some of its quirks. In the Constructors Series on Tuesday, I had a car that after my first pit stop, it kept cutting out. The engine just kept killing itself every 3 seconds, so I ended up having to hold the start motor. Until I got back to the pit lane later that lap. So it is unfortunate. You do get mechanical failures in game, but yeah, it's just the way it goes. But now looking at Joan, it looks like against Rigel ahead. I was expecting Rigel to kind of get a bit faster going compared to Joan, but yeah, it looks like Joan has managed to catch up to the back of Rigel, and he's all over the back of him. But of course, Joan still has Martin Schaefer behind him as well, so it looks like he's going to be looking up the inside as they head up towards turn 7, as they go through turn 6 now, and that's him got a nose in. It's going to be very tight. It is a single line practically through here, and yeah, that's why he managed to got the position back. But that's allowed Martin Schaefer to catch up again in that blue and yellow Lexus.
Yeah, and it's very tight there up the front. We barely just missed in the picture in case you saw Daniel Barnett going quite wide there, and there's also another fight, but I'd love to just keep on focusing on this three-way battle here for position as well.
Yeah, everyone loves a three-way, and this is quite a tight one for those guys. Seeing the Porsche getting squirrely all over the place on exit there. It's unfortunately the Porsche, it's rear engine, so it's a bit like a pendulum. So once it goes, it goes. But yeah, fantastic drive from Jean, managing to keep the back in line and
it's another Ferrari
back into...
sideways there with the driver swaps happening. I think there might be some big inconsistencies. Jack Camalato, who took over the Bentley here, and John McCain in the 04 Racing, also both of them with a bit of a spin. Now, you were already mentioning with a Ferrari, you got a hot Italian, a quirky or squirrely German, and I think the Lexus. Who's going to be that in the threesome role play that we're doing a little bit?
Oh, it's I don't want to go into stereotypes in case I get yelled at by someone, but yeah, for me, I just think sumo wrestler.
No, I see. And that sounds like a lovely proposition, though. So we're checking in up at the front here, fight for P6, or rather P5 really. So we're seeing Alexander Wuich try and get past Ian Simcox here, who's defending that position number 5 in the Ferrari. Jumping on board here with the rear wing. Let's see how close this gets into the braking zone, and not quite side by side this time as it's braking quite deep, sliding a little bit on the exit, but it's going to be just enough to stay ahead in the golden oldies 25 here.
Yeah, you can see Veach wasn't quite sure because we had Kai Banks in the car, in fact, monster Mercedes beforehand, so Veach is still trying to find his legs, trying to find out where the braking point is and everything. So you could see him brake a little bit earlier than we saw Simcox braking, but I think once he establishes his braking point and finds out where he can pass, where he can't pass, it'll be fine. I think he'll get the move done at some point, but yeah, Simcox just has to keep going and figure out what's going to happen.
It's beautiful to see a little bit of caution here. We're switching over to your picture-in-picture center screen. We're seeing a beautiful move, 68, diving to the inside there, setting it up quite nicely. That's Barrows getting past the 917, I think. Is it?
Yep, that was the 917. Brilliant move, actually. Like, that was fantastic. Managing to get the cutback on that chicane, which you don't really see. You want to do it, but it's quite hard to do, and he's managed to stick it.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we have for number 145. That was the car that got past Danny Bull. He's now under attack again from the number 917 Lexus of Dorr. So we see Dorr pulling to the inside of that Aston Martin, heading down now towards turn 1. He keeps it on the inside very long side by side, but of course he's got the outside line. He can carry a bit more speed.
He's going to be braking quite deep down, and that's going to allow a little bit of a cheeky cutbacks. They're going to be a second one perhaps for the Lexus driver, trying to look for traction around the outside, and he does seem to find some of it. Now they're going to be going into turn 4 here, 145 towards the inside. Ooh. But I think that's a beautiful lunge and such late braking there, allowing for the position to be taken with ease.
Yeah, of course the Lexus has the inside line as well, which he doesn't need it, but the option was there for him for turn 5 if he needed to defend. But that was fantastic stuff from Dorr, keeping it all the way around the outside of turn 3 and 4 and sticking it. Brilliant move from him.
It's fantastic. I mean, the racecraft after the first couple of laps, I think that has massively improved. Perhaps that goes into what you were mentioning earlier with trying to run different drivers of different levels during this race. Yeah, as we're checking on board here, seeing how close this gets up into turn number 1. You can see how beautiful the game actually is, despite all the clouds up in the sky in Barcelona here in this evening. Thank you everybody for joining us out here. I hope you are enjoying the race just as much as Josh and I do.
Yeah, I'm seeing Charger in chat as well as Speed Demon and Skyline. Skyline's saying that he's going to get his. I think he said he's going to get his dick out if Kai Banks wins. So I think a lot of people are hoping that Kai Banks doesn't win right now, but yeah. Yeah, hello to everyone who's watching, and yeah, you're joining us for a fantastic evening at Barcelona.
Yeah, 1 hour and 9 minutes still to go. I think what I'm going to quickly look at as we are continuing to follow that very nice onboard. Sorry if the audio doesn't match, I can't quite get all of that rolling at the same time. So who's been winning here during this time? It is going to be the fake taxi driver. Let's switch on over there into the picture-in-picture mode. So quick spotlight here on Jerome Roiling in the 33. He managed to go from a P13 qualifying position, so runs a bit wide there, into what is P5, 8 positions gained, just within 50 minutes time. And I think that's just absolutely lovely work, and I think that deserves the spotlight for the first race half here in that fake taxi number 33.
Yeah, that's an impressive job doing that. But like, to make up that many positions, I wonder if he's just managed to keep his nose clean, avoid incidents, and just be consistent. But that is brilliant effort from Roiling in that fake taxi Ferrari.
Yeah, I honestly think that he did benefit a lot from the action happening around him, as we're quickly checking in here with the fight of P18, where John McCain is right on the back wing of Danny Ball. Let's see from that perspective as well. Look how wide the Aston Martin Racing wing is. Squeezed a little bit just on the edge there, both of these corners. If you listen very closely, you can hear the tire sliding there, and that's going to allow the Ferrari to get a very nice run here. Let's see if he can stick it around. So engine power is going to be somewhat similar down the main straight as we're going into the TV cameras. Get a nice shot of this action. The Nations League Racing Aston is likely to have to defend here up into turn 1 if he wants to keep that 18th position. So they're breaking a straight line. No move, no harm whatsoever at the current point in time. They're just going to be dealing a little bit of, striking a little bit of fear into each other's minds, but no moves visible yet. Perhaps up into here. It's again with a very nice run. Just doesn't seem decisive enough by McCain. And once again sticks back to it. He's going to have to get past if he wants to actually show the pace that he seems to have got around here.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. It looks like further ahead, though, Martin Schaefer and Jody Baraka. I'm wondering if they're on the same team, because they just seem to be sticking behind each other. They're just kind of following each other all the way through. But yeah, they're not as aggressive as we're seeing in P18 for Danny Bull and Jake Moore. Those two seem to be quite boisterous and aggressive towards each other and trying to get a move done.
Yeah, nothing more beautiful than seeing these two drivers just quickly faking into the inside. Whew, just popping out the car there, trying to bluff a little bit, see if he can get to his nerves. But it seems that he can defend it very beautifully. Yesterday, actually, I was in a CP race as well, where it was around the Nürburgring, and essentially it was 45 minutes of a single Ferrari behind me, and the gap never went further than 0.7 seconds, despite having a pit stop there as well. And at the end of the day, he just wrote, well, alright, so that's the defense, okay, and then he just left the server, because he really just couldn't get past for 45 minutes straight. And we're seeing the same thing where Danny Ball just has a superior braking point and doesn't seem to need to defend much at all, despite all the efforts that are being put up by John McCain, the 114 behind him.
Yeah, the problem is when you're stuck behind someone after about 3 laps, a person ahead who's defending, they know what you're going to do. They can start to guess where you're going to try and make a pass done. If you are stuck behind someone for 3 laps, at some point you have to accept that you're going to be stuck behind them. You just have to keep pressuring them, hoping that they make a mistake, because you can see Danny Bull is putting that car everywhere he needs to keep Jake Moore behind him.
It's super smart driving there. I just love the way that he's dealing with this. Maybe I should have put the highlight on him instead, just for the last couple of laps, just defending there. I'm going to quickly check up with a brief intermission here as we see Alexander Weish going to the inside there for a brief moment. Oh, there's contact being made between him and I am Simcox and the Golden Oldies. number 25 there into turn 1. That was a massive difference. The AMG got about 3 kilometers more into the entry there, and that definitely showed. He almost made the pass.
Yeah, it was a close one there. It was a little bit of contact, but they're both fine. They both come out of it all right. But yeah, it's just really close between those two. I mean, they're fighting for the class win right there for the AM class. So it's getting intense between Simcox and Veach. But yeah, they're both going to probably have their teammates with them in the call, being like, "Come on, just keep it clean. Let's not kill each other when we get to the halfway point."
Yeah, during the class winners wire. You see, I'm honestly quite surprised seeing how both the classes are quite mixed up. I was expecting the pros to be a little bit further up the front, but honestly that Door and Amuleto where they are is probably due to some incidents outside the control, really.
Yeah, unfortunately, shit happens in racing, and when you're doing endurance racing, it's more time for you to, do it. So it's just the way it is. Unfortunately, it's the way of the road. Longer time racing means more time that you can spend crashing with each other. So yeah, it's just the way it is. But it looks like Danny Bull is still trying to hold off John McCain in the background. So those two still going at it. But yeah, it looks like we're looking at. I'm trying to read names now, but it's looks like Ian Simcox and Alexander Veach for number 25 and number 34.
Yeah, we've been showing something here in the center picture. Lando Tejero jumping the curb and making everybody follow him at the same time. That's going to be Barrows and Door following that big slipstream provider. That is the number 21 AMG here. I think that's going to be a move. Door now looking to go into the slipstream and into the inside, most importantly. Trying to get that side by side into turn 1. The 68 is going to have to leave the door open a little bit. I think they're going to hold on side by side here. Little love tap, but that's GT3 for you. I think now with the traction to the inside, Door makes a decisive move after battling hard to get into that position.
Yeah, it got so close between those two. Yeah, luckily they kept it clean all the way through, so that's all we can really ask, and it is very close racing. I'm currently looking at Martin Schaefer and Jody Barraclough, and those two, they have to be on the same team. They must be talking to each other because they're just following each other all the way around. It's like a little train.
I don't think I have the real liveries, I think. Yeah, so they're definitely in blue colors on your end, while I've got the default ones, which is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, it looks like they've gone for a kind of Rothman's style livery with the blue and yellow and white on my end. But yeah, we'll get liveries sorted out for the next time.
I downloaded some of them. I don't think I got the update just before the race. I thought that would have been the same as right around, I think, Thursday when I checked it the last time. But you do know that all of these lads are trying to put some beautiful liveries into the picture here. And let's go back around. I'll quickly give you the camera so that maybe you can do a quick run through some of your favorite drivers so far, see what they got going on for themselves. That's alright.
Yeah, sure. If we're looking at liveries, it's got to go, for me, I just love the Rothmans liveries of Martin Schaefer and Jody Barraclough and the number 12 and number 5. Brilliant liveries, and they must be on the team or have some sort of cahoots going on for them to be that coordinated. But I have a feeling that the number 5 car has more closely replicated it in some way. But yeah, looking up at the front, we've got Samuel Navarro. He's still battling it with Christopher Taverian now in for number 58 Lamborghini. Bentley versus Lamborghini. I think for Bentley, probably have it. It's just such a stable car around here.
Right.
And they will be coming up to Zero Nigelen in for in P2 and Phil Varley in P1, because that gap is slowly closing. It's between P1 and P2 it's about 4.5 seconds, and between P2 and P3 it's about 4.5 seconds as well. So they are slowly catching up, but once two cars start fighting, that's kind of the end of the day. You just end up dropping loads of pace. Still looking at John McCain, still fighting with Danny Bull. But yeah, nothing's happening for those two.
He's still holding on. He's holding up everyone with that fight. Just getting that nice defense in. Now, if we take a look there, that's actually Samuel Navarro there in the Bentley, showing us how wonderful that flasher looks. He's really wanted to get past, and of course in this battle there's really no room, as he actually seems to be having to go for a move there as well. Trying to follow alongside him is going to be that Lamborghini who can't quite make the pass yet, so he'll have to be patient. That's actually that multi-lap, you could say, racing review where Christopher Jesus Christ, Tvevarian,
yeah.
Tvevarian. It's just not the name, not a name I can really
there's
go for.
contact, which was inevitable.
Yeah, he's actually waiting up though, so that's
yeah. I mean, it was a beautiful battle. It would have been a shame to see it end there because of that contact, but yeah, brilliant to see those two waiting for each other after that contact. But yeah, unfortunately with blue flags, yeah, but unfortunately with blue flags, they don't have to move out the way immediately. They're entitled to their own line, and if two cars are racing, they can't just stop racing there and then. Blue flags, they do have to be respected, but it's more about letting the car know that they're about to be passed by a faster car. Exactly. It's not about a you must move now type thing.
And talking about who must move now, that actually is the leader of the race, Phil Varley, last lap of 46.0, which is 9/10 slower than the Audi following in P2. So that gap has diminished significantly in the past couple of laps. I'd say that's not going to be too long before he needs to get a move on. Otherwise, there's going to be big trouble in the fight here for P1 during the 2 hours of Barcelona, as we have the pleasure of commentating for you tonight.
Yeah, it's getting close for those guys. I wonder if Varley had a slight mistake or something, which has caused him to have that slight decrease in time. But yeah, it's unfortunate for Phil to be losing out like that.
Ooh, to the inside there, I'm seeing on the picture-in-picture to you on the bottom right there for our viewers as well. Two very close fights we're following, but at very different points in the track. Of course, the second sector that we're going through right now features very different corners to some of the first sector, you could say, especially with a significant braking zone up into the hairpin. We're seeing Alexander Veach do quite beautifully, manages to stick it to the inside. Now they're going to be going side by side into the chicane section here, and around he goes for now. He's not going to have the inside unless he gets the foot down, which he absolutely nails. RW Monster Energy 34 moves ahead up into P6. That's going to be one of the nicest moves we've seen set up right in there.
Yeah, that was brilliant. He managed to keep the power delivery constant and not bottle it. It's front engine, so there's not a lot of weight on the rear, and that Merc has so much torque. It's easy to blitz up the rears, but he's still under pressure from the Ferrari behind as they go into turn one, taking the inside line for defense. But yeah, I don't think. Whoa! I'm gonna eat my word in a second. Yeah,
with a beautiful braking pattern right on there, slowing the car just down in time. Simcox, is he gonna stay around the outside? I think he is for now, until the AMG just gets a fully clear sign from that how do you say crew chief, right? From his crew chief right on there, signaling he's good to go, and good to go he is. Let's see if he can put on the pace, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think he's well. He's coming. I think there's any real chance of him to retaliate as we're chasing back with a fight that you've already been watching in the bottom right corner. That's going to be Nate Newcomer against John McCain. Right center screen for you.
Yeah, it looks like Danny Bull has dropped the ball, and he's unfortunately lost two positions to John McCain and Nate Newcomer. But now Newcomer's going to have another go at going. He's going to have a go at trying to pass McCain. But yeah, it's going well so far for Newcomer. He's working his way back forwards. I think we saw him down in P22, P23 earlier in the race. So
Yeah.
he's doing a fantastic job working his way back forward. But yeah, he's still on the chase for John McCain.
Yeah, so it's the ups and downs. He's trying to play the endurance bingo, trying to get everything, get punted, punt someone, get pass someone. It's really all in there for that number 97 here tonight.
Yeah, a little bit of a last to first challenge for him.
He puts it up there. So, he says that it's probably too easy for him to do it in the 20-minute races. He's got to start all the way back in the longer series, yeah, as we are following alongside. In that helicam, Orlando Hotel Hero in that Moon 21 is in the sandwich between Dor and Mad Al as they're chasing each other. Up into the final turn now, trying to get a nice toe on the front straight here, down Barcelona's famous turn 1 that's going to be waiting for them. Now, do we see a move here? I think he might have some decent slipstream. Let's look at the speed here on board, trying to see how fast they go. 265 on the AMG is Speedo as they're braking hard for the first turn. And I think it's such a nice train to see. We're following it on board here as well. They actually seem to be fighting quite a little bit as we see the Lexus that we've been following. They're going too wide. They're losing traction. So it's as long as you leave the camber, if you can't stick it to the inside, you're going to have a really bad time around Barcelona. It's such a cambered track with all of the up and downs, the hilliness that we've been talking about in the pre-race broadcast, if you haven't been there yet.
Yeah, it's also the dirty area as well. He's going to have no front end, so unfortunately you can't carry as much speed as the guy in front of you. But yeah, that's just him caught out. Great avoidance though. Fantastic job at making sure he didn't collect anyone on the way out. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. But these two, they're still battling. You can see him on the screen now. He's managed to catch up again. So
yeah, I was about to mention that as well. It doesn't take long. It's only half a lap, and he's diminished a 1.5 second gap. He's already at the very wing there. He's trying to see what he can do just right then and there, breaking super deep into the hairpin.
Yeah, but those guys are keeping it close, but there's another three-way battle happening as well further forward for P6 with Alexander Veach, Ian Simcox and RWB Rigel as well. Jona's also catching up to him as well with Barraclough behind him. It looks like Schaefer's dropped back from Barraclough in P11, but yeah, this three-way battle, it's happening now, and it's happening quite close together.
Yeah, and these guys are, it's such a similar pace. The fast 10 minutes, there hasn't been a single overtake for position. So everybody's found their rhythm, found their pace, and while they're fighting hard, it seems that they're mostly matched to where they are. Of course, we have a couple of changes here. 10 minutes time, we're going to be expecting the final pit stop for all of these GT3's out there on track. And most likely with that, we're going to see a big change in pace once again for the final stint.
Yeah, their final pit stop, I mean, it's a 45-minute max stint, so they've got about 6-7 minutes until their final pit window effectively opens for the optimum strategy. But yeah, they're still fighting hard, and what tends to happen is first and last stint, they're the most aggressive, whereas with the second stint, everyone's not quite in sync with who they should be fighting with. Maybe they had to pit for extra damage from from lap 1, lap 2, lap 3 collisions. And yeah, it's just a bit of a dead stint effectively, as there's not a lot going on because everyone's kind of already in a rhythm, already battling it out. Saying that though, Tahairo and Dor are still going side by side, going through turn 12. So these guys are still having a go at it between each other.
Do you have a car number? Do you have a position for me?
Yeah, P14 with car number 21 for Tahairo, and these guys are battling hard between them.
Yeah, getting that up and running, and just for you to watch on screen how close all of this is gonna pan out. I do think running an undercut strategy could prove very healthy for some of the drivers out there. I feel like they've been pushing a lot for the past 45 minutes. That tires, the earlier you can get in there, I think you can maybe stand in position as he actually snaps around there to the inside, almost gets collected once again from the Bentley as he does a little donut. That's 50 minutes too early, my friend. But regardless of that, I think that was, it was really on both of them, I think.
Yeah, very opportunistic from both. Quite aggressive defending and aggressive pass, but yeah, unfortunately, the only real proper person who lost out there was the Lexus.
Right.
But they're back under action, and if they have any damage, they've still got 5 minutes to go until they can pit.
Until they fix that. So let's talk about this a little bit. So say you're running this and you have about 5-6 seconds of damage. It doesn't really feel like much. Do you go and repair that during a pit stop, or do you say, nah, I'm just going to be fine and roll on with it? That I'm not going to lose in 45 minutes.
It depends. Unfortunately, ACC's a bit weird. You've got two different categories of damage. You've got performance impacting, so stuff like your aero. Let's say your wing split a diffuser, say they get damaged, that's really performance impacting, you can feel it. Or if you have suspension damage, sometimes the steering wheel goes off center, or you have a massive dead zone in the steering, that is worth pitting and repairing. But it's just bodywork. I mean, there's no point, and a lot of 10-second damage is this bodywork. It's just the bumper, bumpers falling off or whatever, or the bonnet's bouncing up and down. You don't need to pit it, it's fine. I tend to keep going until I get shown the orange meatball. That's kind of my...
That's your sign. It's usually that actually have to come in when you get that. I think 3 minutes is the time you have to actually run this. We've been following RW FX UK there. Following very sharply behind one of the best defenders, it seems like. We're going to have some playing cards in the end of the season, I think, where you're going to be matching and doing that with a different driver super close there. You saw in the bottom right how tight that actually got. Constantina effect coming into play, and there's jump on board here for the final 3 corners. So this is going to be third to last, second to last now, round the outside and onto the back straight here. You can see that from the point of view, they're fighting the wheel, actually getting a little bit of understeer. I am getting into my coaching mode. He turned the wheel a little bit too much, and I think that's going to cost him the run. He saw the front tires screeching there. Well, you didn't actually see it, but you might have. You certainly heard it, though. So up into definitely. Turn 1. Not quite an opportunity yet, but I'm sure when we're looking at the different pace levels, I think that we're going to see a change in position here, unless we get another load of Danny Ball defense.
Yeah, Danny just putting the car in all the right places. He's been consistent with his defending all the way through. I don't think he's been unfair to anyone. We've not seen him do any weird lines or changing lines in the braking design. He's been very consistent, and he definitely wins Defender of the Day for me, if that's the title we're going for. But yeah, he's like, if you just watch him, he's keeping the inside.
And he's still on the inside, and he's going to be just very tight, half a car length. That's just not enough. He's not going to let him pass. It's another half a lap, and he's still ahead. There's no way getting past. Imagine if you're stuck in a traffic jam and you want to get around, and then you just realize there's actually Danny Ball ahead of you. You're going to have a real bad time.
Yeah, and FX is having such a hard time trying to get past him. He's going to have to really pull something out of the box, maybe try and get the optimum run out of the chicane, so that he can actually get a run on Danny, because I don't know what Danny's taken, but I don't know if he's just done a ton of Adderall, because he's putting the car exactly where FX needs to go. He's just putting it in all the right places.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see. He's doing a little here and a little there. It's just beautiful to watch, honestly. If you're able to get your hands on some close racing just like this, then do sign me right on up. Wow. Okay. I think I'll jump back to this. Doesn't seem to be another run, and as far as I'm concerned, there's definitely not going to be a position gained here unless he goes for a dive bomb to shove on out wide. That's not going to be the case. A little bit squirrely there on the exit, and once again he's just got the inside. That's not going to be happening anytime soon. But what might be happening sometime soon is a fight that we've been following on your end as well. Which car numbers am I looking at?
Well, currently we've got the number 97 car of Nate Newcomer still trying to get past John McCain. I think John McCain's taken some lessons from Danny when he was fighting him, because Newcomer's struggling to get past John here. They're currently racing forwards now, and it's so close between those two. Newcomer just can't find a way past him, and I think I think by the end of it, if people are still stuck behind Danny, it's going to be a bunch of Danny defending at this rate.
I want to see some of that in chat in the end as well. Give Danny some love for that beautiful defense of his. I want to quickly have a look here in the fights up ahead. P9 and P8. It's going to be Jody Barrowclough and that Nigel Manson FW14 Lexus following quite closely. We see him on board there as well. It's not too much distance then. On the braking, I think he gets it a little, just a shy bit too early. Can't quite gain as much as he could have on the Ferrari, but he gets a much nicer line into this very technical section that's essentially the last sector of the lap here, and up into a very difficult braking zone. Now, when you don't really want to hit 100% on the braking, that actually triggers the ABS too much. Now to the outside and floor it as we're seeing him evade that fight, jumping into the pit lanes a little bit early with just 44 minutes left.
Yeah, looking at P3, P4 now, we've got Navarro in for number 108, Bentley. He's currently being chased down by Tavarian, 0.4 second split for currently. Very close between those two, so we'll see what happens with them. But yeah, very interesting between these two. I'm wondering if Navarro will follow Tavarian into the pit lane when Navarro goes in. But we'll see what happens, and yeah.
Chances are he'll do this, and what we saw last time around, Samuel Navarro braking quite early. I mean, he wants to make sure not to get a certain penalty coming into the pit lane. Regardless of that, chances are you're going to lose a little bit of time. When you're as close as this, you're also going to far increase the chances of getting rear-ended and then actually getting the penalty. Actually not this time around. None of that is going to happen at all whatsoever, because they're not heading into the pit lane. However, we do see former P1 runner Phil Varley head to the pit garage right now.
Yeah, you can see Tavarian just showing his nose on the inside there into his side mirror going, you know what, I'm still here. Don't get lazy or anything, don't fall asleep, because I am still going to be here if you ever mess up. So yeah, he's still pressuring Navarro, and as we were saying earlier, he just needs to keep on the pressure. Hope that Navarro makes a mistake so he can capitalize on that. But so far, Navarro is doing a top-notch job of keeping ahead of Tavarian.
Barcelona is a track where a nice defense can really pay off in the long shot. We see in the best lap data that Navarro is actually on his fastest pace, about 1.5 tenths slower than the driver chasing him. So technically Christopher Tavarian might have a good shot, especially considering how his third sector is usually the quicker out of the two. But that doesn't mean there's going to be enough room to really get a move done, as they're heading deep into the braking zone. Their right wheels on the curbing, on the entry, and once again on the exit. They're using all of the track. You see him pushing there, and once again, this is going to be the chance. Super close. Do we see a slight undercut from either of the two, or they're going to be heading to the pit lane in a synchronized and orderly fashion?
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things. We're still seeing Phil Varley as well fighting Topinka now. That's the driver change there, but we're seeing Tavarian dive into the pits now, try and get that undercut in free air when he comes out again. But yeah,
smart move, I think. Now just got to watch and nail the pit stop. So ideally, when you're getting everything right, a pit stop should take you about 1 minute and 12 seconds if you're not changing anything outside of so splash and dash is 1 minute and 12, and I think if you're changing tires as well, it's about 1 minute and 20 or 25, depending if you have any sort of extra damage you've got to correct. So let me get this right on up, get myself the in-game view here. We're following a couple of cars. So during the last stint, we saw was a couple of position changes there up at the front as well, 1 or 2, but I'm really just interested to see how everything pans out when we're getting out of the pit lane again. We see Jack Camaletto in P13, actually ahead of John McCain, who still has to serve a pit stop yet. So those things are probably gonna settle down in the last next maybe 1 or 2 laps of this 2-hour race tonight.
Yeah, I'm just getting confused with all the pit stops. Everyone's jumping all over the place. I'm just trying to remember where everyone was and is. But yeah, we're still looking at Jack Camiletto in that Bentley, and yeah, he's doing pretty well. That's him completed his final pit stop and him hop back into the Bentley. So we'll see what happens with him. He's still got the Ferrari behind him, but I'm pretty sure that Ferrari's not pitted yet, so he's still got time to still work it out. We've got Simon Mertens and Emo Plate in P19 and P18. Those two are still battling it out and quite close to each other, but I mean, yeah, the Mercedes ahead, he's not pitted yet, so effectively Plate is being held up by car that's further down the order, so
Right.
it's not ideal for him. He's going to be wanting to get that free air and move, but of course Mertens doesn't have to move out of the way. He's not a back marker or anything. He's still fighting for position technically. He's just holding up Plate, and Plate's not gonna get any
Yeah,
undercut.
it's not gonna get us where this time around. It's very, very difficult to get something past there. It's La Caixa and into a Bar Sabadell. Then next coming up is the Europe car corner, followed by the chicane, RACC, and then New Holland. Is that how you pronounce this? All of the corner names feel not very Spanish to me, outside of Bar Sabadell. But you can kind of get that extra pronunciation. Really, if you're trying to pronounce things more Spanish, then all you got to do is just put the top of your tongue on the roof of your mouth or in between the front teeth, and it's gonna sound very Spanish.
Oh yeah. I was just doing that now. I was just pushing my tongue against my roof of my mouth. Yeah, I had a Spanish flatmate, and she corrected me constantly whenever I try to say something in Spanish to her. Because apparently you're not supposed to lisp on the S's. It's only on the C. So I was like I was going gracias. She was like, "You just sound so stupid right now. That's not how you do it." So I was like, "I don't know."
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. Right. Now, I think Spanish in itself has to do with like getting the Spanish kind of accent. You're trying to get the vowels extra clean, so that you can basically just skip all of the consonants, just fluttering them out of the way, as we're actually seeing a nice overtake there. Phil Varley going around to the inside there. Door is open, and he's gonna take that with ease, moving up into P4, and he's gonna be the first car up and around. So we did see Christopher Taverin drop back quite severely, actually. 8 seconds down, right about where he used to be quite close. No, it's actually the 5-1 Navarro there, who still hasn't pitted yet. Right. So yeah, a couple of cars there up and around to get their pit stops, and that's going to be happening in the next couple of minutes. A bit of a recap here. So actually, no, we can't really get a recap because all the positions are going to be messed up with the pit stops. 36 minutes still to go.
Yeah, it looks like Phil Varley's going to be out in P1. It looks like at this rate. He's a top highest positioned car that has done a pit stop, and from what I'm seeing on the Delta, it looks like he's actually jumped them. So we'll see what happens, but that is quite interesting that Phil's managed to keep P1 effectively for now.
Well, for now, we're going to see where he actually ends up in the end, but I do feel like he's doing a fantastic job. Can I wait, which camera is the isn't there like a specific camera that just shows the face of the driver? Alright, we're not getting that. Moving on. Trying to get you some other battles happening around the track. So if we take a look on the left there, once again a couple of so-called fights for position, which really in the case of RWB Tyron in the Smug Crew number 96 Ferrari are really just overtakes on somewhat traffic. So they're heading up the hill here. I think he's gonna look for a move very soon here. Might could be a good opportunity. Talking about good opportunities, I'm gonna put you up in center picture here, so that we can get the actual liveries, not the messed up ones like I do. Yeah, Honey and Barros fighting here for P11 for now. Not really much room being given. Alright, I just noticed how I accidentally muted myself going for the F6 camera, which is just a very smart thing to do from me.
Yeah, no worries. I was so confused there. Yeah, currently, right now, looking at Barros defending from RWB Tyrion in that red Ferrari for number 96. They're currently pushing around now through turn 12, heading up towards that kind of chicane complex, the one I don't think anyone likes really. It should just be the MotoGP line.
That is cool.
Yeah, but it's fantastic stuff so far. Barros is doing a good job at keeping Tyrion behind as he goes into the pits now. But yeah, that's held up Tyrion somewhat, so we'll see what happens with Tyrion's pace if he's managed to undercut anyone. But yeah, Barros holding him up is not what he needed.
It's quite nice to see that actually. That in now P11 effectively, the paradigm shift was so far back down at the start of the race, manages to crawl back up slowly and steadily, almost in the top 10 now. And chances are, when the front runners are pitting once again, he might be in striking distance to go for a top 10 finish, despite the atrocious first half of this race.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things. I mean, strategy comes into it quite a lot in terms of trying to get clean air for your driver. If you're battling, you're going to be slow. So with pit stops, it's not so much because there's no difference in tyre compounds, apart from wet and dry. You can't do that kind of F1, we're going to put him on hards now and softs later. With GT racing, it's more about trying to get clean air and maximise as much clean air as you can for your driver.
And if you can get some smooth overtakes, that can kind of throw back some of the other drivers as well. Kind of similar thing that you're seeing in some of the other races. For example, GT4, same story there. Though the aero wash, as you're calling it, it's basically driving in that dirty air. That isn't quite as severe, so you can see much closer fights, closer runs without the cars being affected as much in pace.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's good to see that these cars are still batting out. We saw a fantastic move right there from Ian Simcox. By Phil Varley on Ian Simcox. As they went through turn 7 there. Brilliant move, managing to get a cutback and just slotting in. But yeah, well, the race has still got about 32 minutes left. And yeah, we've still got Zavarian fighting Mad Al as well, as they're going through turn 12, currently fighting for P5. Brilliant stuff from those guys trying to get through right now. But yeah, we'll see how it goes for Zavarian and Mad Al right there.
Yeah, trying to get right on there. Wait, Tvivarian? I think that actually is Rafael Malo in the Moon 21 behind him, so that is a lap car. It's actually not for position. So Emo played and in the Tech 1 Racing, Lexus is right on there with Rafael Malo. That might be, that's for position 14 actually.
Yeah, just had Alex Thunder say in chat, lots of guys finish racing now to do some interviews. Yeah, I personally am all for some interviews if anyone's about. If you are watching and you are in one of the races, pop into the Waiting for Comms and we'll drag you in.
Yeah, I think that's a lovely idea. Maybe it's time. Do you want to take over the cams and quickly go down the order as we are waiting for the interview?
Yeah, I'll certainly give it a go. So currently in P1, we have Turo Nyonen in the number 92. He's just gone into the pits though, so he'll be dropping down the order, same as Samuel Navarro. In P3, we have Phil Varley, he's already pitted. He's in the number 55 Lexus. In P4, we have Ian Simcox. He's currently leading for the AMs as well currently. He's in P4, but he probably will get past P1 and P2 as well. Kind of raised some questions. Should he be in the AM class? But that's neither here or there for us to question. In P5 currently we have Christopher Tavarian in the number 58 Ferrari. Lamborghini. He's been sitting pretty in the top 10 quite easily for the most part. In P6 we have RWB Madley in the number 33 Ferrari. Kai Banks in the Monster Energy Mercedes, he's in the number 34 car, and he's currently sitting in P7. In P8 we have Tyrion, followed very closely behind by a car. I think that's a lapped car he's passing now. But yeah, he's in P8 in the number 96 Ferrari. Jack Camaletto is currently in P9 in the number 13 Bentley. And close behind him is Matt Tarbuck, who's slowly catching up in that Rothmans liveried Lexus in the number 5 car. And in P11 we have Peter Peck, who's catching up as well to Matt Tarbuck. So it's going well for those guys. The guy who's leading currently for the Pro Am class is the number 21 Mercedes. That's driven by Rafael Malho currently. And it's going well for him so far. They've not had too much issues with EC and McLaren going slightly offline. And that looks like it's Malho going past quite easily. But we'll see what happens. A little bit of a tap as they go through turn 9 there. But looks like Malho's got the pass done. But we're seeing it go very tight there by Emo Plates in the number 917 Lexus. But SM got the inside now on that McLaren, except we see a very slow pull away from the Lexus again. Still trying to hold on tight to his existing position, but unfortunately that's the McLaren forced off into the runoff area.
So P16, I think.
Yeah, sorry. To answer Martin Peters' question in the chat, is this with driver swap? Thought it was with 2 cars per team. With the driver swap, there are 2 drivers per car, so they can swap out at any time during the race. However, there is a 45-minute max stint time, so they don't have to swap over at the end of their stint, but they do have to come in by the end of that max stint time. So it's a 45-minute stint time with a 120-minute race, so they have to come in twice at least. But yeah, currently following on board with Rafael Malho. He's being caught up by Emo Plates behind him. Unfortunately, Emo Plates had a slight contact with the McLaren. It looked like it was of Taz in the number 4 McLaren, but not 100% sure with that. But he's still going strong, still pulling ahead. Looking back at P15, we have John McCain being caught up by Nate Newcomer again. We're seeing Nate Newcomer closing up. You've seen that concertina effect, but it looks like they might be coming up to a lapped car, because that looks like an Audi ahead and not for 917.
That's actually P3, Marco Badowski.
Oh wow, that's me completely out of touch. Yeah, so that's him.
Yeah, the last lap was a 2:52 for him. I'm not sure if there's any sort of damage, or that might just be the pit stop. Might be just warming up the tires, in all honesty.
Yeah, that must be the pit stop for him. But yeah, looking on board on Nate Newcomer following John McCain. John McCain's still in front of Newcomer. Newcomer's still not managed to find a way past him. He's definitely learnt from the Danny defence and is still holding out in P15. That puts him in P5 in class, with Newcomer close behind him P6 in class. So Newcomer clobbering the sausage clouds, which doesn't give him the drive that he needs to try and catch up to him on this pit straight and hopefully get alongside for turn 1. But it's getting very close between them, with Newcomer kind of yo-yoing back and forth behind McCain, trying to find an opportunity to get past. But we'll see how it goes for those guys. But yeah, John McCain's still following up ahead. Badowski hasn't quite flown away. He's still about a second. Although he is in P3, he's still about a second in front of John McCain, which means McCain will be getting that dirty air from that past the car, unfortunately. But you see Newcomer washing out slightly compared to McCain.
What's nice about McCain, despite the qualification, actually is sending him up down the order. So McCain, with a qualification position just of P23, and then moving up 8 places over the course of the race here. it's quite nice to see that. He doesn't quite have the quality pace, but he's got a lot of consistency here, trying to get it down. And by the looks of it, he can definitely follow the top pack here as well. He's chasing Badowski, and that should have been for P3 if he were on the same lap, honestly.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. We've seen him not make that many mistakes. I have a feeling he may have been getting flustered, maybe a little bit annoyed behind Danny. But I mean, that's what happens to anyone who gets stuck behind a driver who's defending quite heavily. So it is kind of expected. We'll see what happens, because it looks like you can see the Ferrari squirreling about there, left to right, trying to keep the traction on track. But yeah, newcomer, he'll be waiting for any opportunity he can to try and get past.
Now a quick focus picture here. Up on one of the drivers, I'm gonna put it right on up. Wait a second here. I want to keep yours on as well, because they're going side by side in there. Yeah, just take it, go ahead, take it.
Yeah, certainly. We've got Alex Thunder ready for a quick interview. So I'll drag him in here now while we're watching this battle on screen. Hi Alex, how are you doing? We'll hear from Alex in a second when he gets back to us. But yeah, we're currently looking at Marco Badowski's rear wing. That's Samuel Navarro right behind him, who's caught up. And now this is a proper battle for P3 unfolding before us. So we'll see what happens with these guys. But yeah, it's getting properly tense for these folk.
Yeah, to the inside he goes, and with the door wide open, the number 92 Marco Badowski is going to pay with that for that with the position. And that's a very easy move, you could say, for Samuel Navarro, who just goes up ahead and onto the final step of the podium here tonight. Seems to get some nice clearance there immediately as well. The better run on the exit is now approaching a little bit of traffic. Cars ahead are actually John McCain and Nate Newcomer. So that's going to be a doozy if he wants to get past them during the final sector here of the lap. Still no input yet, I think, from Alex, unless I'm mixing that.
There he is.
We just had to turn off the microphone in TeamSpeak.
Fair enough.
Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so hi Alex, how are you doing first off? How's it been tonight?
Yeah, perfect so far. I had a great stint. So actually Kai is now comfortably in P6. A large gap in front, large gap behind. Yeah, so far everything's running smoothly.
Yeah, it looks like you guys have had little bits of contact, nothing overly to worry about, but did you have to do any repairs or anything due to those contacts?
Yeah, in the first stint Kai had a little incident with a Lambo, I think Kirsten it was. Gained a few seconds of damage, but nothing major, nothing that slowed us really down. And yeah, in my stint I had a little fight for a few laps with a Ferrari, which was Sharp and Simcox.
Yep.
And yeah, we had to adjust our strategy because I couldn't really lose him. So we went for an early pit stop, and Kai is obviously faster. And yeah, we built up a big gap, and when Simcox pitted, now we sit comfortably like 12 seconds ahead.
Yeah, Kai Banks looks like he's quite comfortable. Did he choose the car and you kind of have to adapt to it, or did you guys kind of come to the choice of car together?
Yeah, this time he chose the car because he ended up in the Constructors' Championship in Merc. So yeah, we went for the Merc and I had to adapt with it. Yeah, I think it's a really nice car to drive, really stable and predictable. We had a little problems with the tire pressures because our driving style is a little bit different. So my tires are perfect, and Kai seems to have a little bit overheating, but nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Do you guys develop the setups together, or is it kind of it's one person's way and the other guy has to cope with it?
Well, normally it's like Kai's setups. We have similar driving styles, not that extreme. So normally we have the same pace with the same setup. It's perfect.
Nice. Where are you guys hoping to finish in terms of the overall championship? I mean, obviously you want to be aiming for the win, but where are you guys hoping to finish?
I think we raced endurance together, and we know each other pretty well for now. And then I think in the top 10 would be pretty great.
Well, it looks like that's going to be coming true because currently he's sitting in P6, and it looks like he's catching up to Madley as well. So that's some good news for you as well. He's about 3 tenths faster per lap currently, so there's still plenty of time for Kai to catch up.
Well, yeah, let's see how that goes.
Definitely. Do you have any questions, Nicholas, for Alex?
I think I'll just do the next one. I think it's fine if we're just doing like one person doing the questions. I think that's nice.
Yeah, sure. Oh, have you gone try on me?
No. Just letting you take the interview where you want to. Don't want to interrupt with that. I think that's good.
Certainly. So how have you found the other drivers on track? Have you found it quite clean and respectable so far, or have there been any scary moments on track?
Well, I didn't really encounter much other cars, so but I think the standards are pretty high right now at the moment.
That's always good to hear. Yeah, it's been entertaining for us, but we've not seen anything massively dodgy. But yeah, do you have any shout outs to anyone out there? I see. I'm trying to remember who it was, but someone claiming that they're going to get their balls out if Kai wins.
Yeah, I think it's not going to happen tonight, but maybe next race.
Really
Perfect.
like
Well, thanks for joining us. And yeah, we'll definitely grab you back on next race. But yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome.
All right.
So that was Alex Veach, and it looks like we have Charger as well who wants to chat as well. I'll drag Charger in as well so you can have a little chit chat as well.
I want to check with which car is Charger in. Yeah, the number 6.
He's with FX in the number 6-4, I think. 6-9.
Yeah.
Of course, being slightly mature and going for number 6-9.
He's already with us. So thank you very much for your time. Right now, running in P19, we have on board here with us RWB Charger in the broadcast booth. How are you doing?
If he's willing to talk to us, that is.
Maybe I should have waited for an initial input from him.
Yeah, but while we wait for Charger to fix his microphone, we'll come back from grabbing a drink. Currently watching on the mini screen, we've got Dale Kelleher still potting around. He's slowly catching up to Daniel Barnett. Eventually, slowly but surely, but it looks like he's having some issues trying to get the pace up. But he's staying ahead of Kevin Shepherd and Pinpoint, so he's not doing too bad in P22. But yeah, very close battle on screen. I say that
inside there. Emo Blades finds the breaking point, which I think Malo behind him absolutely didn't that time around. So that's an easy position, P13 now for the Tech 1 Racing Lexus there. I think that's just the right thing to do. You kind of put the pressure on and you use that late race kind of mistake, that somewhat mishap that you're seeing a lot of the time. And now to quickly iterate on that, that's the second position they've gained in the past 30 minutes. Very nice driving, and same stuff here. Nate Newcomer also gaining 4 positions here. So having somewhat of a disappointing race start there, managing to climb back up in the second half of the stint here.
Yeah, he's doing a brilliant job there. I think I hear Charger now.
Perhaps my voice wasn't connecting there for some reason.
There he is. How you doing, Charger?
I'm struggling.
Right. So out there on the track itself, or did you feel like it was mostly down to the car? Where do you feel like the issues were?
No, the temperature's gone up, so we're overinflated on the tyres. We were perfect for the first half of the race. Now we're touching 29, 30 on the tyres, and FX is struggling to hold up. Well, Merchant's just passed him now, so.
Yeah, that's obviously way too high. So coming into the race, did you do a lot of practice in these sort of conditions, or was it mostly just running with what you got?
Most wet.
Wet,
Believe it
really?
or not, the practice server was wet most of the time, so we did some dry and wet. We had, like I said, we had the tyre pressures perfect, but we wasn't expecting the weather to go this way.
Right.
I think the track temp now is something like 29 degrees C. I'm not actually sure. 25 degrees. But yeah, the tyres have overinflated, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a big loss. Obviously,
Oh, it's
what you were
30
probably
degrees.
looking for is like a top 10 finish, I'm assuming.
We were looking for a sub 20. I wouldn't say a top 10. But yeah, we were looking for, I'd say, around about 15. Beyond Nate Newcomer, probably.
Right. So during the qualifying process, obviously you guys were starting right around the same position where you had the 21. I think that is correct. So did you feel like you weren't quite with the quali? Is that something, the one lap pace, that you guys want to work on for the next week?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were only about 1.5 seconds off pole. It was quite close. I think we were 145s.
Right.
But we full fueled, you see, for the first stint. The idea was we were going to do 75 minutes straight through with a splashed in dash. But we changed that. And we changed tyres after the 45 and just fueled up for the last and did a splash and dash. So we just reversed the tactics. It was a bad move. So
with the tires, I'm assuming you probably would have changed that otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah.
So seeing that he's out there right now, losing another position into P21 and being followed quite closely by Bentley there for next week, do you think you're going to come back out on top with a revised strategy?
Oh yes. Well, we've learned from tonight. It's not too bad because we've got a drop round, so you know this could be it. We always knew Barcelona was going to be tough. It's tough on a lot of people. A lot of people don't like it, so.
Right. Yeah. But I think considering all the circumstances and driving on such high PSI is a very challenging task. I think you're doing quite beautifully out there, holding up for yourself in that P21. I'm not quite sure. Is there points awarded for that position as well, do you reckon?
Yeah, there's points all the way through the field.
Right.
So we'll get a few. Not as many as we wanted, but we'll get a few.
I think you'll take those anyway. Well, thank you so much for your time. And of
Cheers.
course, we want to see more from you in the next race, see what you can put up with, and maybe get up in those top 15, top 10 even, if you're getting the strategy just right. Until then, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah, enjoy the prawns.
Yeah, enjoy your three-way.
Always do.
It's a little bit of banter. I do like that. Lovely stuff. Checking up at the front, 10 minutes to go as we're just catching there. Samuel Navarro somehow sleeping on the wheel. Hello. And he's going to go straight into the wall. It's the wave's over for P3. What is happening there? Is that the wheel disconnection or something? That's a major input. He isn't even going to move. The driver died at the wheel, perhaps.
That's unfortunate.
Wow.
Hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully it's just the wheel disconnecting or something. But yeah, that's just unfortunate for those guys because they're doing so well and on for a podium finish.
Yeah, it's tragic, really. That was so far up at Rob this way. I mean, really, the fastest laps of the race. 44.0 is from Phil Varley, new fastest lap, but regardless, they were way up there with the pace, and that's just so sudden. Let's check. Are they still sitting there in that turn one? Yeah, they seem to still be there and just continuing to lose positions despite such a promising race effort. It's tragic.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, we're still seeing Phil Varley up at the front. I'm trying to figure out if Christopher Teferian is he's not too far behind, but I think Varley, he's done Car 55 crew, they've done a fantastic job tonight, pulling it all the way through.
Yeah, they started with a qualification effort on P2 and just gained that position from some of the earlier in the race incidents. Managed to keep their tires in check. Obviously, that couldn't be a problem quite easily around here. And I think they've done a great job just managing the pace, getting around traffic safely. I'm still shook with Camoletto dropping out of the race like they have. In all honesty.
Yeah, definitely. It's unfortunate and not what we want to see, but it's unfortunately the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm seeing RWB Nepone wanting to chat to us as well. I'll just drag him in here, so we can have a little chat with us. But hello, I'm gonna butcher your name, but hello, Nydian. Nyanan? How are you doing?
Seems like it's the same with the mic here.
Yeah, we're not having much luck tonight, are we?
Yeah, I'm quickly checking. No, there's actually no push to talk necessary in this channel, so it should be put out of the box. By the way, we do see Jack Camoletto back out on track again. I'm not sure quite what happened, but definitely there is an interview waiting for him, hopefully at the end of the race, so we can get some info what happened there in the paradigm shift number 13. So unfortunately, he's not out of the race, I think. But yeah, that was a big impact.
Yeah, very big impact. We're now seeing Phil Varley still pushing through. He's got a massive lead on Christopher's variant so far. Looks like it's about a 10-second lead on P1, so he's doing a brilliant job keeping it going forward. But yeah, currently it looks like it's just a lot of people getting lapped currently by the faster guys in the top 5, top 10, so it's kind of interesting seeing that go ahead and go through.
Yeah, I think we're just take a brief moment since it's only just 8 more minutes in the race. What we can look at a little bit is the pace. I think that's actually quite interesting to see. So up at the front here, Phil Varley last lap 45.0, and with that he's severely ahead of almost anyone in the top pack. The only car that can somewhat reach that level is the number 25 of Sharp. That's a 45.2, and with a 45.0 that he's putting up, he's 9/10 quicker than the Lambo chasing, and almost 2 full seconds quicker than Marco Badowski on the last lap, which was a 47.1 in that Racing Sim Tools number 92.
Yeah, some of these guys are just absolutely rapid. I don't know how they do it around here. Barcelona really is not my track. I hate Barcelona with a passion. But yeah, it's just one of those kind of Marmite tracks. Some people do absolutely fantastic at it. Some people don't do as well, or maybe aren't as consistent as they normally are on other tracks. So it's definitely a Marmite track for me. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, to me, in Barcelona, in that sense, I'm not really up to the top pace, and that usually is a big indicator whether I'm gonna like a track or not. For example, like Suzuka, it's the same thing. So the track probably can be enjoyable outside of the horrid first sector, but regardless of that, since I'm just a second or two off the pace where I want to be, I'm just not gonna be fancying driving it a lot. I think that's kind of the key factor for me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, tracks that I love, like Brands, Bathurst, Imola, like those kind of tracks, I could do them all day, every day, and I'm not too horrendous at it, but yeah, still, like, tracks like Barca, I just can't stand. Hopefully that's Nepone now with us. Hopefully Discord hasn't blown up on him.
That's working.
Yeah, how are you doing? How have you found the race so far?
Yeah, so I think we were on a win could have been possible for us today, but as I just went in for my last pit stop, I tried to change the PSIs just a little bit, and I ended up giving the most worn tire set to Marco that we had.
Yeah.
And he's struggling a lot now because of it, and his pace is a lot lower than what it should be. So I kind of away on one pit stop which put us now down to P4.
Yeah, but I think you guys are now in P3 with Badalski at the wheel and the number 92 Audi. You guys have done a tremendous job despite that. I mean, he's still going, and his pace has dropped down very slightly, but it looks like he could hold it out from the number 33 behind you, and I think a podium's still pretty possible for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That's at least what we are hoping for at the moment, and I've been cheering on him for the past 25 minutes, as they've not been easy for us. And he's doing a good job. He's maintaining it very well, considering what state the car is in. The PSIs are very off, and the set is like dead, but he's still holding on, and he's doing a very good job.
Yeah, it looks like it. I've driven the Audi a couple times. Have you found it to be a bit? Have you experienced any of those weird snap oversteer moments in the Audi around here?
Yeah, there is quite a lot of it, but I think I've gotten quite used to it because I only really drive the Audi anymore, so I have a lot of experience on it, and it's my go-to. But yeah, it's definitely still there, and even if I have driven it a lot, it still can catch me out sometimes.
Yeah, I remember doing Spa in the Audi, and it's absolutely atrocious going up Eau Rouge. Hate it with a passion.
Now, to actually plug the software there in a little bit, I was actually doing some Audi setups as well with RST. Haha, little do you know, to help fix that. And it's possible, it's just very tough.
Yeah, absolutely. But I gotta say that like having RST for making setups helps it a lot, as you can, there's a lot of things you can do with the Audi to make it a lot faster and a lot more stable, and if you can tweak it enough to keep it on track consistently, it's like a machine. It's really quick and fun to drive.
Yeah, I loved using the damper histograms because I can't understand dampers for the life of me, but I can read the histograms and actually get the car feeling better. But yeah, without RST or Motec, I can't work out dampers for the life of me.
Don't worry, you're not the only one. I can't either. Thankfully, I have good teammates who do it for me.
100%, man. But yeah, how have you found the racing tonight? Have you been enjoying all the action on track so far?
Yeah, I have. I think I had a pretty good stint if we don't count the pit in, but I think the car felt very good tonight. It was quick, and I had a little bit of a battle with Phil Warley for the lead before I pitted. I couldn't just catch him because I made a mistake in T1, which cost me a few seconds to him, but it was still fun chasing him around.
That's awesome to hear. Have you had a lot of action, or has it been kind of quiet in your stints?
For me, it was very quiet. I only had the occasional backmarkers and then the little scrap with Phil, but that was pretty much it. We've kept out of trouble quite well tonight.
That's awesome to hear. Do you have any questions for him? But yeah, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we see you guys on the podium afterwards.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm hoping that too.
Cheers. See ya.
See ya.
Right, man. Leader is on the final.
Wait, if you want me to take a question, that's good as well. But usually I just like to watch some, like get the broadcast updated, get some things in the back end to see what I can talk about when we're getting out of the interview. So I'm not really focused too much on what's happening there.
No worries, I'm quite the same. But yeah, it's looking good on track so far. Everyone's kind of settled into their own little gaps, would you say?
Yeah, the only thing that, of course, we are taking a look at right now is RWB Madly, 2.5 seconds. That's not quite enough considering the data on the last lap was exactly 2 seconds. So I think with Varley probably ending the race just... there might be another lap, so this really does depend on it. I think he might just make it across the start-finish line to extend the race by one more lap here, and it does seem to be the case. Just very shy. So he could have waited. He can probably guarantee Badowski a top 3 finish if he waits, but he absolutely does not. He's going to go for one more time around that Barcelona lap here. And that, of course, means spells disaster for Marco Badowski, who's going to fight not just for half a lap, but 1.5. So that actually gives an opportunity to Madley to make things very close for the final step on the podium here.
Yeah, it looks like Badowski he's in Madley's sights right now. Madley is desperately braking super late, trying to catch up to Badowski now as they go around through turn 12, head towards the chicane complex at the end. But yeah, the Ferrari just seems to be having higher minimum speeds on every corner currently. It looks like Badowski's almost struggling on his really old tyres.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see if
it would have been enough. And now the thing is, 1.5 seconds. It's quite tight if he wants to make it round. Because of course, we already mentioned you can get the Danny defense out. You can try and squeeze the car, make sure that he's not going to get past for the final lap. But we do have to check in with the leader of the race in a second. Leave you this picture-in-picture up and running, of course, so you can continue following the battle here for P3. There is also a small fight here, I think, brewing up where Adam Sharp has already gotten past RWB Godzilla. That's going to be another position gained on the final lap of the race here, actually. Checking in with the front where Phil Varley is now taking it for the final 3 turns of the evening. Grumpy Bastards Racing, Phil Varley. Chances are he's gonna bring it home. There's just one turn. There's nothing that is gonna stop this Bentley right on in here. He's gonna take the checkered flag in the 55. Very well deserved finish. There he is. Grumpy Bastards Racing, Phil Varley, and that's P1 for them. Now chasing, and after a disastrous first couple of laps, Christopher Tvern, the smoked salmon and fries, finishes up in P2. There's actually a drive-through there, so we're actually not going to get that much of an and actually another one on the final lap of the race there, collecting the penalties. So Marco Badowski can just ease off the throttle. He's well past and has managed to secure a position number 3 for the Racing Sim Tools team here tonight. Oh, that's that's rough to say.
Oh, and there's another drive-through. They're popping up everywhere currently with track
on the
limits.
final laps. Or imagine
like
if Varley would have
asleep.
waited. Yeah, none of those would have happened. They're all on 3 warnings. Let's see if there's another for Badowski. No, there is actually not. Final corner where you can really get a track cut. That's him across the line. Number 92 finishing up. That's the checkered flag for them. P3. Now 30 seconds of delta. Let's see where RWB Madley is going to finish in the fake taxi. So Adam Sharp here in the golden oldies has to push through. Let's see if he can make it. 30 seconds is the time frame that he has to beat. Let's see if he's got it in himself. 5, 4, and it looks like he does. Well, he should be jumping out. He's 19 seconds behind him, and that's a 30-second penalty. So I would just consider this result a P4 finish here for Sharp. Then it's going to be RWB Godzilla chasing with that 30-second penalty instead of the drive-through being applied. Tyrion on as well. I think then finishing in P8 because Tarbuk finishing originally here in that number 5 Lexus will probably move ahead. Then it's Peter Peck in the RR Leagues. And there you go. This is the rest of the results on the left-hand side here. Tyrion, Parmaletto, Varga. Then it's Plate in front of Malo. Newcomer in 14th. McCain finishes P15. It's Bull, Barnett, Merchant, and let me get the rest of them. That's then Taz, FX UK in front of Kelcher, Shepard, Speed, and Pinpoint.
Oof, that's incredible. We also have Malo and Tohiro in for another 21 Mercedes, getting the class win for the Pro-Am. So brilliant stuff for those guys as well. But yeah, mega job from number 55 Bentley getting it into P1. Fantastic work from those guys. And of course to Adam Sharp getting the number 25 Ferrari in for the amateur class win. Brilliant stuff from those guys.
Yeah, so my question is, who is your driver of the evening? Unfortunately, we get the results taken away from us. It's a bit too quick with the session ender there. We already talked about it in the Constructors Championship that we kind of want to change that up a little to allow broadcasting on. But we worked that out for the next one. I think it has been some fantastic action. I'm going to switch right on over and get ourselves some nice pictures from the trackside here. That has been the 2 hours of Barcelona. Winning here is a Bentley. The question is, what is it going to be up and running for next week, where we'll be waiting for you on Saturday once again. Do you want to have a couple of words as well?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Danny Bull did a fantastic job defending. It's just a mega job from him, managing to hold back 2 separate drivers for well over 20 minutes in this stint. It was fantastic to watch and gave us tons of close racing. And yeah, also to Phil Varley doing that mega push up as well. He did an amazing job trying to push all the way forward, especially seeing how he started in P5 and managed to finish P1. Mega job from those guys.
Yeah, I think it's just great to see that they're always just pushing through the stint. The comeback Lambo, to me, I think is probably going to be a driver of the day, at least personally, just fighting through that, all of the traffic and all of that, paying off. Few mistakes, I think that was very nice. And if not the Lambo, then it's going to be the Denny defense, obviously. That's the real choice, I think. So until next week, Saturday, we'll be hoping that you guys join us at the Zandvoort Grand Prix. This has been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you guys. Do you want to do some more interviews, or do you want to just head out?
Well, I think from what I'm seeing, a lot of people are heading off currently, but we'll try and drag them in next week
Right.
for post-race interviews.
I think that is a beautiful wrap. Thank you so much, Josh, and until next week then, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll try to get that beautiful intro. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well with the nice camera work we've been preparing for you guys. Let me get on up this intro, outro. There you go. Sliding into that. So RST Competizione Cup next Saturday. It's going to be Zandvoort. This week it has been Barcelona round 1. Beautiful racing all around. Brought to you by Nicholas, Josh, and most importantly, RST. Have a lovely evening, and I'll see you around.